What is up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of TerrorCrave. I am Lee, and you guys know him as Jason. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. I was kind of laughing that when you brought us in, it reminded me of like something you would have seen on the MTV's thing, like one of their reality shows they had. Like, what's up, everybody? I thought it was. No, I'm not down. I just thought it was cool. Good
Oh my
memory.
goodness. Oh
Yeah,
no, now I have to redo that opening
yeah.
now, it seems like.
No, no, I'd almost flash real world across the screen if I didn't think we'd get sued.
Oh lordy. Would
Yeah.
that be fun? Would you
Did you
have
ever
gone to
watch
the real
those?
world? Okay. I actually only watched one season of the real world, and it was and I really only saw a marathon of it on one day. It was back in 1993. It was the real world. Was that San Diego? I think it
Donna.
was. I think it was the real world San Diego where they go, true story, had the cowboy from Texas, I believe he was. And anyway, it was I think I think it was San Diego. That's the only real world I watched, and that was season two. And I did watch one with some girl named Triste. I think her name was. For some reason, she sticks out in my mind. I'm not sure why.
Were you getting ready to ask me if I would have like been on it if they, like
Yes. Would you
applied
have
and
gone? Would you have gone on the real
nah,
world?
nah. That's
Oh
too
my
much drama for me, man.
Oh, dude, I would have loved to have been on the real. I would have, even though I didn't watch the show, I know I would have jumped at the chance to have been on the real world. That is a true story.
Would you do it now, like something like that? Uh,
Yeah, I think I
would you?
would. I think I would. I would like to go on one of those. I love Big Brother. We as a family
I haven't
watch
watched that either.
Big Brother. That's the only really reality show besides like Rock of Love. I did watch Rock of Love and Flavor of Love when they were big, with Flavor Flav
Yeah, I remember that one, but
and then Brett Michaels was doing it. He was like the answer, the rock answer to to the rap
no.
version. They were both on VH1, and I watched both of them. So those are reality shows I watched for a second. But for the most, I've watched the Big Brother for probably consecutively now. I don't know, 17 years,
So
18
that's
years.
like a reality show. What is it? Adults that go to it, or what is it?
It's adults that go to it. Everybody goes to this. It's like they choose about 15 people, and they have to stay in this house and there's a cut off from the rest of the world. Besides Julie Chen Moonves, when they talk to her, you know what I mean, once a week or maybe twice a week, or there's a competition. Other than that, they're all in this house. They can go out into the yard. There's a big, huge thing up so you can't see. You know what I mean? You're just there. And
Yeah.
each week there's competitions, and each week somebody is voted out of the house. There's two people put up for nomination. Those two people then have to go for win a veto competition. They go up against each other plus a couple other people to win the veto competition. If they or somebody they are in an alliance with wins the veto, they can either take themselves off or they can be taken off of the block. You didn't ask for all this. I know I'm just giving you a mouthful right
No,
now.
so it's kind
And
of like
then
survival without the like.
it is because they're not allowed to have phones. There's no TV. There's nothing. They're just in this house. But it's more. I mean, it's much more relaxed. It's a nice house. You know what I mean? Compared to like being in the rough and Survivor. You know what I mean? But they can't talk to their families or anything like that. And the goal is to stay in the house for as long as you can. For 3.5 months, or about 3 months, I guess. And then you win. You win $500,000.
Oh,
It's not as big of a I think Survivor's a million. Anyway, I
oh,
just went over that whole thing, and I did watch. We've talked about it before. Now that you got me going down this reality show tunnel, uh, that one I watched a couple episodes of that, the horror one that was on MTV, where they would go into the different places and they'd have a camera attached to them, like a GoPro.
fear. Wasn't it fear?
Fear, yeah, fear. I guess is what it was. We talked about it before. I did watch that. I liked the premise of that whole thing.
That was awesome. I remember that one. I
Yeah.
watched one that was kind of a celebrity version of one of those. You remember that? What
Uh,
was that? Celebrity?
Fear.
No,
So,
no. It
oh,
was like Big Brother you were just talking about, where they just took a bunch of
it's probably
Flavor Flav
celebrity.
was on.
They did do a Celebrity Big Brother. They have done a couple episodes of
All right,
seasons
well
of
that
that
was.
before.
I
Or
had to have watched
I
it. I
think you're talking
remember it was
about.
something like that.
I think you're talking about though. I know what you're talking about. Surreal Life. Brigitte
Oh,
Brigitte
that is
Nielsen was
that.
on there.
Yep, yep, yep. That's it. That's it. I remember that.
that was a similar premise. Some celebrities go, but they got to, they had to live together in the house. I remember I watched Corey Feldman was on there.
Oh my gosh.
And I did
Yeah.
watch the two Corys. There
Oh
was a
yeah, I
reality
did too. I
show.
like Corey Haim. Corey Feldman. I liked as I liked the stuff he was in, especially Friday the 13th stuff like that. The Goonies. Come on, man. But it's like his singing stuff. Like he tried to be like Michael Jackson. You remember that?
Well, do I remember that? I would probably say in the past 30 or 40 days, I've somehow saw it again. You know what I mean? Saw a performance of his again in the past, like so recently.
I
But I remember
yeah, I did too.
specifically when he was on. Maybe did you share it? Maybe you shared it or something. Maybe that's how
I
I
wouldn't
saw
have shared that.
it.
Oh,
But
Corey Feldman. Let
I
me
do
share that.
remember specifically seeing an episode of him where he performed on the Today Show, and he was just it was wild. It was wild, man. He's a wild
Yeah.
dude. He's a
Uh-huh.
wild dude for sure.
Yeah.
No, but then if you
Uh,
remember some or believe some of his stories about what, not to doubt, but believe some of his stories about what wrong in Hollywood happened to him, man. That
well, yeah, and Corey Haim. Yeah, I know
yeah,
what you're saying. Yeah. I kind of
crazy.
believe him actually on that stuff. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I'm sure there's probably, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably some.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, let's
yeah.
not talk about that too much more. We don't want
but,
to. We won't.
but we did.
Yeah.
So out of who did you like from as a growing up? We grew up with the Corys, you and I. Who did you like as far as like their movies? I mean, they did a lot of movies together, which was obviously cool when they did movies
Um.
together. License to Drive, Dream a Little Dream. That was the
Um.
Lost Boys,
Lost
obviously.
Boys.
You know what I mean?
I like Corey Haim a lot. I thought he was really cool. The is with the Lost Boys. That's I really liked his character in that. I liked the way that he acted and all that. That we were that age. You know what I mean? So, or you
Right.
were. I was still very young at that time,
Yes.
but I like Corey Haim. I thought he was really cool, man. I thought, and Corey Feldman, like I say, I thought in that one he was more. He wasn't as much like License to Drive. They were co-stars in that. You know what I mean? I think Corey Haim and his brother, who I can't remember his name right
There was
now,
no in real life.
is no, in the Lost Boys.
Oh, Jason Patrick.
Yeah, yeah. Like
That's
I
the
thought they were
actor's
the
name.
two
Yeah.
main stars. They were co-stars, and then you had like
Oh, I would agree. I would agree that
yeah,
the Frog Brothers
yeah.
were
They at that
they were
time.
supporting. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
supporting characters 100%. The brothers were the
yeah.
main characters, and then I guess
Mhm.
you can even say that David. I mean, I could just watch. I don't think I've
Oh,
like
Kiefer
watched the Lost.
Sutherland.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
I guess
trying.
he would have been a main star too because he was the
That's what I'm
main
saying.
vampire.
Yeah,
Okay.
my question is, or where I was going with that is, would you consider Kiefer Sutherland's character David
The
a
yeah,
main character
yeah,
above the Frog Brothers, or are they more
yeah.
equal?
No, I guess if I had to put it, it would have been Corey. What'd you say, Jason Patrick?
Yeah, Jason Patrick. I can't remember his
And
brother. His name is a brother in the movie.
um, I'll think of it in a minute.
I'm trying to think of it when he was out the window and he's
Yeah,
trying to pull him in.
Michael.
Michael, there you go.
Michael.
There you
How could
go.
yeah,
Good
and
work.
yeah, Kiefer Sutherland and maybe even um the girl
Star,
star. Yeah, she might have
Jamie
been.
Gertz, the
Yeah,
actress, is her name, but
yeah,
Star was the character's name.
probably. I don't know. Maybe they were all big stars in that movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about character roles, though. You know what I mean? I mean, that they definitely all had main character roles, but I would still consider the
Well,
Frog Brothers more supporting than definitely Michael and whatever the little brother's name. Can you pull the little brother's name in now? Think about Michael
hey,
yelling his name, trying to let him in the window. I can't think of it either.
no. If I was just sitting around just thinking of the movie, I'd know it right offhand. But
I know. I'm with you on that.
yeah,
But anyway, but that is actually a good
Sam.
segue. Sam, look at you.
Yeah.
I knew it. I
Oh,
knew it.
50. It's still there. 50.
Dude, you are beating me, man. I could not think of it.
It just takes a
Save
little
my
longer
life.
to pull the file cabinet out. So
My back. My
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
file cabinet. I get it, man. I get
Forgot
it.
the key. Got to go back and get the key.
All
No.
right, well, let me ask you this question then, which would lead us into this. We talked about Corey Haim. Can you tell me a Stephen King movie that Corey Haim was in?
Silver bullet. I knew
Awesome.
where you're going with that.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Which brings us into what we want to talk about a little bit tonight, guys. We huge fans of horror, as you know, but there was a list that at least I don't know how long ago. Maybe it's been out for a number of years, or anyway, we stumbled upon it recently, and to many a movie on there, I would say, Jason, I speak for you, it gave you pause, if I'm not
it,
mistaken.
it
And
did
the
give me
list of
pause.
and the list of where they fell. So we're talking about what was the top 50. It ranked
Yeah.
or
All
the Stephen King
52, all
movies.
of them. Yep.
Yeah, he's got. I guess he's at 52 theatrical films. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Mm-hmm. And then
Okay.
like we said, we discussed this the other day, the made for TV movies are not on there. Like It and Salem's Lot, they're not on there. The old ones. But I will
Yes.
say, so this you sent this to me the other day, and I'm looking through it, and all right, first they have number one Carrie. I'm fine with that. I mean, that was his first movie, and I
And I
think
get
it's great.
it is great. And I think what we should say though is to let everybody know that this is what we're talking about. How like I mean, these are ranked by there's a list ranked by uh, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
You know, these are the movies ranked that were like put together by them, but by critics' score is how it
yeah,
is. So this is really what it is. It's ranked by the critics' scores. So you know, like you said, Carrie was what 93%.
y- yeah,
You're
yeah.
okay with that one?
I'm fine with that. I think Carrie's great, man. That's a classic, dude. But I'll just say this too. I can remember Rotten Tomatoes when they first started doing their thing, and they weren't very popular at all back then. But I agreed with almost every review that they did, and it was usually because the mainstream view or critics, they were saying, "Oh, this horror movie is terrible. Don't go see it." And I was like, "What? That's a good movie, man. If we're horror fans or whatever." And then Rotten Tomatoes came along, and they're reviewing it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I agree with that." And but I think now I don't agree with them as much on a lot of the movies they review.
Well, what it is them. It's actually taking a compilation. You know what I mean of all the different critics, and that's how and then when they,
Yeah,
they average out where they're far on the tomato score. I disagree with you slightly, a little bit about what you're saying is because, and maybe you said the same thing. So tell me if I'm wrong here. There's been plenty of movie that where the Rotten Tomatoes score is high, and I've gone to see it, and I don't like it so much. You know what I mean? On the flip side, there's been many a terrible Rotten Tomato score, you know, to where I'm like, that movie, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. You know, where I'm not saying maybe something that's got 3% or anything
yeah,
like that, but then maybe we could all be on the same page as to say, okay, it's like something that falls into the what they deem the rotten score, 50% and under, maybe it's even
hmm
60% and under.
hmm
That there's been tons and tons of films that have fallen into that average that I really do enjoy. You know what I mean? And maybe even some of them will probably fall into my top 25 films that I've really liked. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I mean,
yeah.
some of them, not all of them, of course, but some of them. So that's just my opinion on that. So that's a little different than yours, I guess. You know what I mean? To where, well, or maybe you're sounding more like me now, to where you started off on one foot, you were liking them.
Yes. And then I think more recently, the last 2 to 3 years, I would say, I have more that I disagree with them on. And I'm not saying they never did anything, but when they first got started, it would seem like they were. Just seems like something changed. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
I
I
got you.
don't
I'm
know.
following you. I'm picking up what you're putting
Yeah,
down. What
yeah,
to your point, when we looked through this list, there was definitely some things we didn't agree with, and I guess you want to talk on the top 10, just kind of go through that. Is that what you're starting with? And
yeah,
just
and
we'll start there at least, and kind of maybe jump around and talk about the other ones that are,
yeah, and see if
and
there's
maybe
any
the
that
bottom
we
10.
may.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. So the first one, of course, was Carrie, which
yeah,
I can agree with that. What do you think?
yeah. I think so. I will say that I thought it was interesting that it was the number one, that it was actually the number one. to me that was I felt I didn't realize it would fall there on
Same.
the list. You know what I mean? Now Carrie I like for different reasons because first of all it kickstarted this whole Stephen King craze.
Yes.
I mean, for all those
Yes.
who don't know, that was the first theatrical film
Yep.
that was made by that was based on a Stephen King book. And is this his? Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. Maybe you might know. Is this also his first book?
It was his first book too, under Stephen King, not Richard Bachman.
Okay. Yep, his
Yeah.
first book too. So
Yeah.
that was a hit. It was made just a few years after actually it came out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that. It's just did Brian De Palma, this is basic.
It. I will
I definitely
say,
think it's in the top 10 for me.
yeah.
I don't know if I have it.
Would I? No. If would I have it number one? No. But I can agree to Rotten Tomatoes putting it at number one because I kind of figured how this list was going to go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to number two, Stand by Me.
I think that makes perfect sense also. I
I
mean,
agree.
and a lot of people really don't know that it was even now I've come across people who have seen Stand By Me and don't realize that it's a Stephen King
Well,
book
there's a few on
or
this
Stephen King
list
story.
that are
You
like
know,
that, that
yeah, that
people
are.
probably may not. If you're a Stephen King fan, then that you want to, when the new one comes out, you want to check it out. You'll understand. But if you're just somebody that knows Stephen King as a horror writer, you might not know this movie, Stand By Me, was Stephen King.
Right. Yeah, and did you like that? I mean, did you
Oh,
like
I
that
loved
movie?
it. It was a great movie. Yeah. Oh, Corey Feldman.
Rory Feldman. You know
There
what
we
I mean?
go. That's why we started that whole conversation.
Exactly. So I didn't even ask that. I did have about that conversation. Think about that. To ask you if you knew another because they both starred in Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have remembered it right then.
But it is interesting. And
Yeah.
this also, for Stay By Me, was the first Rob Reiner one. And then he had a nice little run of Stephen.
Hmm.
He directed a lot of good movies based on Stephen King novels. And then named his production company Castle Rock even.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, because I guess that was pretty interesting. But yeah, this was the first of Rob Reiner's movies that he directed
Yeah.
as a Stephen King adaptation. So I agree. It's interesting that it's number two, but good.
Yeah. So, number three. Do you agree with that
Shawshank,
one? Yeah,
Shawshank
Shawshank
Redemption.
Redemption.
Yeah,
Well,
Shawshank's
yeah,
great.
probably. Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
horror, but yeah.
and well again that goes. It's funny that a lot of his things, Stephen King's just a great writer, but a lot
Yeah.
of his most acclaimed, and I don't know, do you think that's because it wasn't horror, but a lot of his most acclaimed books like Green Mile, you know what I mean, and
I think it's when
the movies,
most people took him as a more serious writer. You know
right?
what I mean? Because it was suspenseful and, thriller type stuff happening, but it wasn't, Carrie or one of the other ones we'll talk about later.
Shawshank was a very depressing book. He also that was terrible that old Andy had to spend all that time in prison. Was he
Yeah.
innocent or was he guilty? Have you seen the different things about that?
Um,
Like, what if Andy was actually
oh, he might
guilty?
have been. No, I don't think he was. Although he tried really hard to get out.
He succeeded. Yeah.
Um, so we're just going to go through the top 10 real quick, right? We're not going to say,
Okay, so or
all right,
we don't have to go through we don't have to go through every one. We can just you can share what you thought of the different ones. We can pop around. But that's
all
just
right.
maybe we what did we just with the top three?
Uh,
The top three are very interesting because they're both very
yeah,
different stories. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Obviously, which
sure.
Carrie, Stand by Me, and Shawshank. I mean, different for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
and then I do think the next one's on. I mean, I know we want to go in order, but I got to mention this one because it's another Rob Reiner directed ones, and I said kind of that how he started his run of those Stephen King films, and yeah, Misery being another one. Did you like Misery?
Oh, I loved it, man. I mean, that's the sledgehammer scene. I mean, everybody knows that. It's like some movies have that scene, and other ones on this list too have certain scenes that everybody knows, even if they're not a horror fan, or they know that scene. And
The
that's one.
scene was different in the book.
I remember that, but I don't remember what the difference was.
In the book, she actually cut his foot off, as opposed to breaking them like that. She cut one of his feet off as his punishment for getting out of there, which was terrible. both are very terrible. But yeah,
Yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, that sledgehammer scene was. I don't know.
Oh
Either
my.
one would have. This was a number five. I didn't really agree with the dead zone. I just don't know
Oh,
why that's.
I mean,
To me,
I
out of
do.
50, what is it, 52 or 53? That would have been like one of the 50 numbers, 51, 52, 53 for me.
So you didn't like the movie at all,
Nah, I didn't like it. It wasn't much.
even back then in the day when we were 12 years old, probably watching it on VHS.
I don't know why beta. No, BHS. I I don't know why I just couldn't get into it.
I understand that it was a different type of
Yeah. It was,
movie, and Christopher Walken. It was just
and I'm a
it was
Christopher Walken fan, but
it was very. I did like the show. We talked
I
about
like the
that.
show.
There was a
Yeah.
show that lasted about 5 seasons, 6 seasons maybe, on USA. Early 2000s, starring Anthony Michael Hall. That
Hmm.
I really enjoyed. I actually, that was a good show, I thought, and
Yeah.
that one
I
I
like that.
yeah, I liked that one a lot too. But yeah, I'm with you on the movie. I was kind of surprised to see that at number five. That directed by David Cronenberg, who is a horror auteur in his a good one. Done some
Yeah.
crazy films. But yeah, just not. It didn't. Nothing for me that I'm like, oh, that's a great movie. I need to watch again. That's nothing I really need to ever watch again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember even as a kid,
Yeah.
I was joking as a 12-year-old thinking the same thing.
I threw Friday the 13th Part 2 on the other night just because I ran across it.
Ah, see, there's
Anyway,
nothing wrong
not
with
to
that.
jump. Yeah. You
Those are
got
good.
certain
I can
movies.
throw those
Yeah.
on. Yeah, those on are
Yeah.
no problem.
Hmm.
Now, can you do that with the Nightmare on Elm Streets?
Some of them. Some of them. Same thing. Like, I wouldn't watch New Blood, Friday the 13th, the New Blood or whatever. Part 9. Was that, what number was it?
Are you talking about where it was Tommy Jar?
it
Tommy was living in
no.
the halfway
No.
house.
That's Jason.
Five.
Yeah, that was
That's
it.
part five.
Yeah, part five. I'm talking about the one where it's a demon jumping from this person to that person.
Oh, that's part eight. Jason Goes to Hell.
No, 8 is Jason Takes Manhattan.
You're right. It was nine. Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Because that came out in 1993. That's the
Yeah.
one you don't.
Jason Goes to Hell. Yep.
Yeah,
Because
that's
the
the
other one
one you would.
is the one with the girl on the dock, her dad drowned or whatever. That's number
That's seven.
7. All right.
If whatchamacallit is because you're right actually. That is seven. Jason Lives. Was
Jason
that
Lives.
six? That was six.
That that was 5. Yeah, Jason Lives 6. Man, it would have been easier for
Because
me to
five
just
is
pull.
New
I can't
Blood.
remember.
Because five is New Blood.
Or was that 7?
Is it?
I think 7 New Blood. See, now we've done jumped off Stephen King because I mentioned the daggone.
But I like it though. Friday the 13th. All right, here we go.
Somebody else out there is curious too.
New Blood is seven. You were right about that. A New Friday. A New Beginning is five.
A New Beginning.
Six is Jason Lives.
4 was the final chapter.
Yeah, four to final chapter. Then part three is just part three, part two. There's no
Part 3, 3D.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
Remember
you're
that?
right. Okay, I stand corrected. Yeah, Jason 9. Jason. All right. Would you watch Jason X or Jason 9? Jason Goes to Hell.
I would Jason X before Jason 9.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've actually been wanting to watch Jason X recently. That one I didn't. I've not
For
seen
the
that time.
for the
Maybe
Android.
once. Yeah, Android was good. It was good. It was
Not
good. All right, back to
Jason,
Stephen.
the female android.
I know who you're talking about. I know. I was picking up what you were putting down there, my friend.
All right.
I definitely was.
All right, back to so number 6 on the Stephen King list was It. I'm all right. I don't know if I would have had it at 6, but I like that movie. The movie, not the TV series. The movie.
6 is good. I think that makes sense. I mean, that's a good place for it. I definitely. You said you didn't agree. I do agree with that.
Oh, I do agree with it. I do agree.
Yeah, I agree with that one too.
That was a big moneymaker for him
too.
It
was really good. It was a great moneymaker, and that really just kind of kicked off this whole Stephen King resurgence that we've
Yeah.
had over the past, 6 years.
Hmm.
Um, really. So that's been, and I've enjoyed it. There's been a lot of good Stephen King stuff coming up. 2000, even before that, 17, not to get into the TV shows, but The Mist was redone in
Uh-huh.
2017. And that is also, yeah, um, when they announced Castle Rock, I think that came out maybe a year later,
I
that TV
loved
show.
Castle Rock, both
But there was
seasons,
so
man.
many great Stephen King things that have really happened in the past 6 years, lots of good movies.
Yeah.
And which takes us to the one that just came out this past weekend, The Boogeyman,
Boogeyman.
you know?
Which, by the
Yeah.
way, I know we said we're not getting way deep in these, but they've already got the Boogeyman. They ranked that as, what was it, like 16 or 17? Well,
Was that
17. How can he rank it at 17 already? It hadn't even been out a week.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't based on box office.
Okay. So it's just off of their reviews. Okay.
Yeah, this is just off of the consent, the consensus of the reviews. And
Well,
I have
how
heard good
messed
things
up it
about
is, I would have thought it was like the how much money it made.
how messed up. Yeah, I know, right now.
Yeah.
No, if that was the case, there'd be so many of these movies. If we're talking about movies making money, there would be so many that are even here on this top 10 list that
Yeah.
would be not even anywhere on this thing.
Yeah.
It
Well,
would be
even
there. It's
oh yeah,
Dolores
yeah. And
Claiborne
probably chapter two. Yeah, Dolores Claiborne. I
was a
wouldn't have put
flop.
that at 7. I mean,
I've
would
never
you rank
seen Dolores Claiborne. I gotta be
Oh,
honest.
it's
I never.
good. It's really good. But number 7, the top 10 of Stephen King. Come on, man. I would have put that, yeah, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Now, would you put this as a good? Is it suspenseful? Is it a good movie?
Yes, it is. It is. It's got a really creepy vibe to it because of what's happening. The things that you know are happening. Like they show you, not they
Well,
don't
tell me,
go
because maybe I
into
want to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, you know what's
Maybe I do want
happening.
to watch it.
You do want to. It's a good one, man.
I don't know
It's a good
why,
one.
for whatever reason, that one. I remember it came out. I just really had no want or need or drive to watch it for some reason.
And it's got Kathy Bates, who's been in what, 2 at least that I know of.
Well,
Stephen
Misery
King. Yeah,
for
Misery,
sure.
this one. And I thought there was one other one that she was in too. I can't remember.
It could have been. It could
Um,
have been.
Number 8, The Shining.
Well, I agree 100%. That
At
should
8,
be.
or would you have had that higher?
I would probably have that higher.
The
I
original.
would. Yes.
Original.
Well, that's what we're talking about here. There's no way we're bringing it. Even though there are things that I do like about that 6 hour version, there are. I gotta admit, but this one will always be the superior in my book. I mean, it's also ranked as, it's not just as far as Stephen King goes. By many, it's viewed as one of the scariest movies of all time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I remember watching it. I've probably told the story on here many a time. Me and my friend Woody were watching it daylight. Daylight was out even, it was our first time watching. I'd never seen it for whatever reason. So I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 probably watching this movie. I remember. I think I worked at the record den at the time.
Oh, oh,
I
I would have loved to have had a job there. That was awesome.
worked. There was a summer I worked at the record den.
Oh man.
Oh, it was summer of '89 because Batman came out. It was during the whole. I remember that because a lot of people were coming in buying the Prince album.
Yeah, for
You know,
the soundtrack or
yeah, the
whatever, or
Batman soundtrack, the Batman
yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah.
But anyway, I digress. But I remember it was that summer, I'm pretty sure. We rented that movie and watched it. I remember in the middle of the day, scared the heck out of us. It really did, man. I was like tripping out when he did Rat Rob, because I was first.
Yeah.
I had already been. I remember a kid. So when this came out, 1980. So I was 7 years old. I'm aging myself. I was 7 years old when this movie came out, and all I remember is I remember being scared by the commercials as a
Hmm.
child. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
when I finally saw it, I guess what 7, 8 years later, I already had that spookiness instilled in me from the commercials, man, and being scared. And plus, my aunts and uncles, they loved scary movies and read a lot of horror stuff and just, read a lot of
Now, did
horror
they see
books.
it when it came out, like back then,
Probably.
or
I would imagine they
yeah?
probably did. but I just they talked a lot about the Stephen King books that they were reading
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I remember just being a kid and just eating it all up. It scared me a lot. But anyway, my point is, yes, The Shining would be it way up there on the list, man. As
totally
far as
agree.
scary stuff, man,
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? That's a
I agree.
great one. A good movie.
Yeah. Nine is 1408.
I don't know about 1408, man.
That
I
would have
don't.
been like 50 or 51 for me. Something like that.
I didn't like 1408. I really
No,
did.
I didn't
Maybe
either. That's what,
I was just, and I was really excited about 1408 because at that time a lot of Stephen King's movies had kind of gone away, I guess, or there hadn't been really
yeah.
any that I remember at least in 2007 any really good
Mhm.
adaptation. And that had a good cast. You know, John
Yep.
Cusack, Samuel Jackson. It
Yep.
was coming out in the summertime, and or around that, and I was primed for it to be a good movie, man. And it just wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I just
I
remember
get,
saying it just wasn't good. Go ahead.
no, it wasn't good. But, and I'm surprised because number 10, The Green Mile, that would have been in the top five for me. Definitely.
Green Mile is a good movie, and I would
Yeah.
say that's probably in the top five for me as well. It's just a really well done, fantastic film. I did not, unfortunately, I did not read the books, but I did love the movie.
I don't think I read the book for that one. That was a big book. I probably did a book report on it and just watched the movie. Um,
Unless you were still in high school in 1999. Oh wait, the movie came out in 93. I mean, the books came out in
yeah.
93
Yeah. So,
or 94 and 94.
oh, well, yeah, that wouldn't happen then. I was still in elementary school at that time.
At that time.
Yeah. Um, I, and then there's ones on here. Pet Cemetery number 21, the new one. They rank the new one higher than the old one?
Okay, let's talk about
Come
that.
on, man.
Let's talk about that. If there are okay, there's some definitely some good things about
All right, but remember, we're
the
rating the movie, not the book.
no. I'm talking about let's just your particular comment about rating the other new Pet Cemetery above the old Pet Cemetery. Let's take that conversation and dive into that for a little bit, if we will. I think there's some things that are better done in this new version. I really do. Um, More so than the old version. I remember the old version. There were a couple scary scenes in there, but the scary scenes to me were I'll tell you the scary scenes.
In the old one?
In the old one,
All right.
the girl, the lady, the daughter, or whoever that guy with the story, her sister, the wife's
Yeah.
sister, who
Yeah.
was, you know,
Rachel.
that I will
Rachel.
say that one freaked me.
Scariest part
Uh,
of the whole movie.
yes,
That
so
scariest part of the whole movie.
that got me. Um, as far as the rest of it goes, oh, and the other scary part, being a father now, but even then it was terrible when
Yeah.
he's running and trying to get to his
The
son
kite.
to Gage. You know what I mean? When he was
Yeah. Oh,
running,
yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was horrible, horrible.
Because they didn't used to kill kids in movies like that. You remember?
Yeah,
It was
it
a kind of
was.
a big deal. You didn't see it that often. And when you did, it was like, oh my gosh, they did the kid get killed?
Oh,
But then
that
you had
was
uh
heartbreaking.
um was it Judd when he was
Yeah.
getting got his Achilles heel cut, the tendon
Oh,
back there, and then across the mouth, and then when the whole you know, now I want to play with you with Gage and the mom and all that, and then the father had to like give him the shot, and he's like
yes.
falls back against the wall and down on the floor, and he's just like, no fair, no fair. I was like, oh man.
I
Yeah.
mean, okay, so
Anyway.
okay. There's some good, yes, there's some great things about that movie. But I thought the new one was actually, I liked the new one, and I thought it was actually a little bit more scarier even than
I agree with you
old
there.
than the old one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the acting I think was better in the new one,
Agree.
to be honest. So there's some
Agree.
definitely some positives, and I like the way they didn't just tell the whole same story and they flipped the script. And in this new one, the daughter dies.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
that was interesting the way they flipped the script there because everybody's expecting the boy to do it because you're like, oh, you know, so they surprised you with that. You
It
know
was
what I mean?
definitely it was a scary movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, I
and
just needed
I think the guy that played Judd did a great job.
Ron Lithgow.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
great. I like him. He's a, you
he
know,
is good. I like him too.
the um the Children of the Corn. I think they ranked the new one higher than the old one, if I'm not mistaken. Because that's why I was going to watch that the other day. And they have the what is that? The 2013 Carrie is on there, and Carrie 2, The Rage or whatever that's on there. The Dark Half. I like the Dark Half. Did you like that one?
That's funny. I'm looking at it right now. I think I don't know if I liked the Dark Half. I don't know. If, I remember actually watching it, and I don't think I was a huge fan of it. You liked
A
it though?
movie came. Yeah, it was all right. I know a movie came out with Johnny Depp that was kind of similar to that. I can't remember what it was, but
That was that's got to be on this list too. The Room,
the Secret
uh,
Window. Secret
the
Window.
Secret Window. Yeah, where is that
Yeah,
on here?
27.
27.
Yeah, and I
I
know there's
liked that because I didn't know. They surprised me that John Turturro's character. I remember watching that, and not realizing that he was his imagination or
Silver
his
Bullet's number 30.
Silver Bullet. I remember being a kid and loving that.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
I really do. I remember when that came out, and you know, um, I actually watched it not too long ago. I think was it last Halloween or the Halloween before last? AMC shows them all the time. It was good. It was still good to see. And Gary Busey
Yeah,
does a good job. Corey Haim, like we talked about.
I usually watch it once a year like that. Around Halloween time, I'll watch it if it's on.
Now, what I want to watch that's on this list, which we've talked about before, is Mr. Harrigan's Phone. It's not
I
high
still
on the
haven't
list
watched
here.
it.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't either, but it's on Netflix, and I want to check it out. They have Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, on here. I guess because
Yeah,
there was a Stephen King
he's
story
in
that
it, but
well, I think he wrote
yeah.
a story. There was
Hmm.
three or four different, films. Did you like that? As like, if you hold that up against to the Twilight Zone anthology movies that came out,
Oh gosh.
what do you think are better, Tales from the Dark Side or Twilight Zone?
Hmm. I'd probably have to go with the Tales from the Dark Side, just because it's a
Really?
little more scary. Yeah, the other one could be anything from memory loss to something I don't know, but I knew that Tales from the Crypt was going to have Tales from the Dark Side. I mean, was
Right.
going to be scary.
The I would agree that Tales from the Dark Side, that was an interesting, good one with the girl who was the demon. She turned out to be a demon, or you know what I mean. That was a pretty good movie. They had, I think, Christian Slater was in one of his first
Yeah.
films that he was becoming popular back in 1990. Yeah, I think Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from, or Twilight Zone was good. They had something that bothered me with them. He took his sister's mouth away. The little boy that could wish things away
Oh, and which one?
in the Twilight Zone movie. That did
Oh, and
bother
it
me. But the little
uh,
boy could kind of, he was able
it
to
was
wish his
gone.
sister's, yeah, he took his sister's mouth away and she was just sitting there watching TV, couldn't talk. Yeah, that was pretty horrible. That I didn't like. That freaked me out
I'd
as a
like to
kid.
have that gift sometime, every
Oh
once
my
in a while.
goodness.
Yeah,
Now, the Night Flyer's on here. Now, did you see the Night Flyer? Do you
I
remember
did.
it?
I liked it. I thought that was I didn't think it was that scary, but I thought it was like a good Stephen King movie.
I rented it. I remember I rented this movie and I fell asleep on it and I returned it and I never watched it again.
What? You
It
didn't
just
like?
I remember when I saw it, it didn't make me want to like watch it anymore. Now, a movie that is on here that really I have thought about watching more recently, and I think I can appreciate more now, would be Needful Things.
Yeah. Have you've seen it though, right?
I have seen it, but I remember being somewhat. This is another movie that came out during the summer of 1993. It was a Stephen King film. I remember being like excited to see it, and I did see it, and I remember it not being as scary
I
as
think that
I
you'll enjoy it
thought it
more
was going to
now.
be. That's what I'm saying. I think now I
Yeah.
would probably enjoy it more now. Then it wasn't scary to me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I was expecting it to be scary and it wasn't.
I think there were some that were aimed towards younger people, like Carrie and Children of the Corn. And yeah, yeah, I remember my sister going to watch Children of the Corn. Her and her friend, I think her name was Shelley, but everybody called her Pig Nose. I don't know if you
Oh,
knew her or
jeez.
not. But anyway,
No.
but they went to see Children of the Corn. They each drove their own cars there, and when the movie was over, they had to call their like my mom had to go pick my sister up because they were scared to drive home because both of them had to pass cornfields on the way home and they were too scared to drive. So, true story. So
Oh
I
my
really
goodness.
wanted to. I couldn't wait to see that movie. I thought Children of the Corn was good, but if I watch it now, it's just like, okay, you know what I mean. But I
I'm
I didn't watch the new one. I told you I was going to watch it the other night. I ended up watching something else that I'll mention after this.
Yeah, I've heard Short of the Cord. I also saw it. When did that actually come out? The old one.
That was like mid '80s, right?
1984.
Yeah,
So let's say I probably saw it then. If it came out in 84, I probably saw it. I saw it on VHS for sure. So it was like 1985, probably. You know, when I saw it again. It was brought up to the house. Well, one of my family members from North Carolina, probably my uncle or my aunt Nita or somebody, they had to brought it up. They were all hanging out downstairs. The adults, kids watched Children of the Corn. Yeah, it was scary. It was
yeah.
scary. But to your point, now you put it in, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's not. Now there was one because we haven't. I haven't seen the new one either, but there was one that was made for the Sci-Fi Channel. Probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah,
I would say it was made, um, and that one was pretty good. I thought. I remember watching that, catching it one day on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was actually a pretty good movie.
it was
Um,
good.
I like. Do you remember that too?
I do. I do. I
Yeah,
remember that they made so
it
many
was a
of them
remake.
after a while.
Well,
You
though
know what I mean?
I didn't like any of them.
No,
I
I didn't
think I
either.
watched part two. I did watch part two, and I thought that one was good, but then they just diminished in quality, almost like I would compare it to the Howling,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
the Howling movies. First Howling, well, it's funny. First Howling back in the day, I thought was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I really did. You want a piece of my brain and all that stuff. Let me give you my piece of my brain is what it said. Uh, Now it's that's whatever. But I really thought it was good then. Why am I talking about that? Oh, but then you had Howling, the other ones, and they were just like even back then. I'm renting them. I could not make it through a Howling movie if I rented it. I just couldn't. It was just weird and just it. I don't know, weird.
Well,
So I won't
part
say
two
Short of the
was
Cord was as bad.
bestiality pornography is what that was. Part
Yeah,
two.
that one I they had what's her name in there. She was like a B movie actress, Sandra something or other. I remember she
Hmm.
was like the main Sybil Danning, I think her name was. Um, but I she was the star in that, or Shannon Tweed was one of the somebody like that. You know what I mean? Somebody
Yeah,
who
yeah.
was making those in the 80s. Um, Sybil Danning, I will go with though. Yeah, I remember that one. But then even after two, they just got really weird and just I compare it to the Children of the Corn movies, which were also just really they weren't good.
No,
They
they
really
weren't
got
good.
there was one I tried to watch where they brought Isaac back. I do remember they brought Isaac back in one of the later ones, like maybe part
Yeah.
8, 7 or something like that.
Like
And it was
the
the
original
actual
guy too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember actually being like, oh, this might be good, but even that was terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah. That was so there. I don't know. Children of the Corn. Now, Lawnmower Man, another. That one was that one. I would put way
Toward right at the
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
that
got
one
it at
wasn't good.
32.
Yeah, that one might
Above
have
Firestarter. Like the original Firestarter.
above Firestarter, and it was such a weird movie that I've probably mentioned this before on the show. That Lawnmower Man, Stephen King had his name removed from promotion of that film because that movie is so far
Yeah.
removed basically from his storyline. The short story is, you know, nothing like. the virtual reality that they brought into this movie. You know what I mean? With
You think
Star
that was
Jen.
because of like CG stuff? They just didn't want to pay for it, or so they changed the whole movie, or
I don't know. It was just, I mean, and I will say, for back in the day, I mean, now the CGI looks crazy, but for back in the day, it was definitely, I would say the CGI was looked interesting or added
it
a little
ruined
element.
that actor's career, is what it did. Because the actor that was playing the lawnmower, he had started being in a couple of
Jeff
decent
Fahey,
movies. Yeah, dude, and he just like gone after that movie.
and Pierce Brosnan was in it too. Let's not forget. Um,
Forgot that.
you know,
Yeah,
he
what he
was the
do?
doctor.
Volcano. He was James Bond before, and then he played
He
in
did Dante, hey,
Volcano,
he did
or not
Dante's Peak,
Volcano. Yeah,
and
Dante's
Dante's
Peak.
Peak was a good movie. Say what you
That was
will,
a
but
daggone good movie. I
yeah.
watch that if it's on. I watch it all the time.
Dante's Peak or Volcano better?
Oh man.
Because
Mm.
we talked. I don't know if you have before now, but there's always going into a whole different route
Yeah.
now. There's always these Hollywood films that come out where they have like competing, different studios
Yep.
have a competing story. Armageddon, Deep Impact, Dante's Peak, Volcano, and they always come out within months of each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So again, I go back to what did you enjoy most, Dante's Peak or Volcano?
That is a really tough call. Probably Dante's Peak. Although I really like Volcano too. I don't know, man. That's a rough one. I'd watch them both. Whichever one's on, I'm watching. If they're on at the same time, I don't know.
I think I initially liked Dante's Peak better also than Volcano. Dante's Peak I
Yeah.
thought was really good. Like I really liked that movie.
Hmm.
Um, Stuff goes crazy and went crazy in that town. It was just, but yeah, it was, and Dante's Peak actually was the bigger hit too than Volcano.
Well, I love the CG where the guy's on the bridge, like the Pierce Brosnan's boss or whatever.
Oh
He
yeah,
knows he can't get over, so he's just like standing up.
yeah,
It was great. Hey, the
yeah.
last one on the list was Graveyard Shift, which whatever. I didn't care for that movie, but I don't know if there's other ones on there that I might have put. I don't know. That is pretty bad. Although I probably would have put the like Lawnmower Man after that one. That was a terrible movie.
And it's sitting at 0% Graveyard Shift, which is
That's
really
funny.
funny. But I
Yeah.
actually, for some reason, I feel like I saw this movie in the theater, and I remember thinking it was just terrible then. Like it was nothing I
Oh,
didn't
you saw it
enjoy
in the
it.
theater?
I think I did. I think I
I'd
did.
be so mad that I spent money on something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was bad. I remember just not enjoying it then. Um, at
Did you
all.
watch
Another
People
one
Under
that
the Stairs?
I did.
Remember that?
Yes.
Did you like that movie?
Yeah, that was Wes Craven directed film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was okay actually. No, I
I
remember
saw that
kind
at
of
the
being weird.
theater.
I saw that in theaters in Charlottesville, down in
Hmm.
your neck of the
That's
woods.
in Fredericksburg. I went
Oh,
that other
interesting.
way. Yeah. I went up towards your place and we switched.
One I want to bring up too was Cell, because I thought that turned out to be not so good. That came out not too long ago, actually, 2016. Um, Reteamed actually, two people we talked about from previous 1408, John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I will say the beginning of Cell, I love. Like the beginning of Cell when everybody goes crazy at the airport and shit is
Yeah.
just insane, and everybody, what happens, the premise is you pick up the phone or whatever it is, and then you lose your mind and start attacking people. That I thought was awesome. And I thought it was pretty, then the end is what ruined it for me. It was just terrible, terrible ending.
What happened at the end? I don't even remember now.
I think he just,
He went there to destroy the signal, right? And
yeah, but then I think he saw maybe his son had become one of them or something, and I think maybe he just became, I don't know, I just didn't like it. It just wasn't a good ending to me. So that was another disappointing one. But I do remember being excited about it and seeing the actual trailer for it. It was like, oh man! And then
what about the end of Mist? The
I
Mist.
thought was a really good movie.
The whole thing. Did you? And you liked the series too, right?
I did like the
enjoyed
series. I did like the series. The Mist was a really good movie, and I thought it was terrible. The ending. I mean, it was a good ending, but it was a terrible ending.
It was very sad. It was like, oh man, if he had just waited like
I know
a couple minutes, man. That's why. Don't give up. Don't give up.
No, the pain he feels right there.
Yeah,
It has to be horrible. No.
So
So
out of
yeah,
all of them, if you had to pick one in your mind, which would you rank as number one?
The Shining,
The Shining.
without without question, that is the one that I would just. It is.
Um, for me, it would probably be The Green Mile.
Really.
Yeah, I just really enjoy that movie, and I think it's written cleverly. I guess is the only way that I can think of it. I love the way it's done, and I think
Right.
they did a great job in the movie. The acting, man, and Michael Clark Duncan, man, he just played such a good role.
Yeah.
You know, it was so, I don't know, believable, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it was great. It was a great movie. There's no doubt about it.
Hmm.
It was really really good. I just for me, I think it's Stephen King horror. So The Shining, it's just one of my favorite movies in general. So I just that's for me. So
That would have been number two for me, The Shining. I would agree.
okay.
It's a good movie.
So what
And
is
that was one of those things that I was saying that everybody talks about. You know that scene with him. He is Johnny. Everybody knows that, whether
yeah,
you've watched the movie or not.
yep, true, very true.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. So I know real quick you wanted to talk about a couple other movies you just recently saw.
I did. I finally got the chance to watch Evil Dead Rise, and
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a movie you'll watch, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good thing because so when you watch these things, if you're like a Evil Dead fan, you know, like I am, you've already got like this chip on your shoulder just waiting, and it's little Ash sitting here telling
Right.
you, you know, it might be good. It's the evil Ash. It's not going to be good. Um, so I really enjoyed it, and this one, I won't go into it too much. I'll just, you know, say one thing that they found a book, and I was wondering how this book ended up in this hotel. Well, this is not the same Necronomicon. This is not it. There's three different books, and this is the second one. So there's another one out there that could be a whole nother movie. You know what I mean? Or this one could have a second part because it was good. I really liked it.
And does that come out in the film to let the audience know that there's a different book out there,
Yep.
so that they technically the other movies could technically be. I mean, actually, with the third one, that could be the third book, or they know that's the second book. Because really, I've heard that maybe the Ash movie, or
It's different from the Evil Dead.
is different from the other Evil Dead that just came out, and then Evil Dead Rises, or is that
Would make
you
sense.
know what I mean? And those are the
I
three
mean, it could
different
be.
books,
It
and
could
those
be.
are the three different books. That's just a version I've heard of it. But
Although
does it?
I
How
thought
does it?
the book looked different though. Like this one, it looks like it has these teeth on it, like that are locking it together, like these big long teeth.
Right.
And it doesn't look like the Necronomicon that they had in Evil Dead with Ash. But the
Well, that's what I'm
one that
saying.
had Ash had the same book, the Necronomicon, as Evil Dead.
Oh, and it looked the exact same.
Yes.
Okay, so
No, well, I
maybe
mean, it was newer looking, but it was still the Necronomicon.
right. So maybe then the version of the story, two books are the one that happened, the remake of the Evil Dead, and
This
then
one and another one,
Evil Dead Rises. And to your
and
point,
then
yes,
bring them
another one.
all together,
Right.
and
But
Ash
how do
comes
they
back.
let you know? I know, right? But how do they let you know in the movie? You can tell me that there's a
So
third
in the
book, that there's
movie,
another book. How do they let you know as the
there's a
audience?
mother that is living with her son and daughter. The daughter's older than the son. They have a sister. The woman has a sister. The mother has a sister, and she comes there to visit or whatever. I think she's gotten pregnant. She's like a roadie for a band or whatever,
Yeah.
and or not really a roadie. She's a high whatever they call them now, roadie. Not really roadie. Yeah, roadie. So she comes to visit, and the mother sends the two kids out to get pizza so she can talk to her sister. While the kids are out on their way back, there's an earthquake, and they're in a parking garage, like parking the car, just getting back from getting the pizza. Yeah, there's two sons and a daughter. The daughter, son, and another son. I almost forgot
Right.
one of the sons.
Okay.
So the earthquake opened up the concrete underneath of the parking garage. The one son can see down in there, like the older teenage son, not the younger one. He can see down in there. He jumps down in there, gets the book, and then comes out.
Right.
And they go up, and his sister told him not. I mean, they go to open it, and then the thing kind of like opens itself and kind of turns a page. So she tells him to take it back. They're scared or whatever. That's where the book came from. It was under this building.
Right, but no, I'm saying as the audience, I know that's where the book came from. I know, but my question is, as the audience, do they make reference that this is the
Yes,
second
there.
book? Second,
Yep,
that's
because
what I'm saying. How do they
there
let
was a
us know that?
record. There was so that this underground thing is almost like a. It's where they lock the book up, but there's a big safe down there. There's like some statues, like Christian stuff around.
So the
That this
record
thing's been
plays and
put there.
says that this is
Yeah.
a second book or
So the
whatever.
kid does like
Gotcha. Okay.
he's like a DJ, so he does play, and he has a bunch of records, but he plays it, but he has to play it at a certain speed to make it work. And it says it's about a guy who found the book and thought they could use. Anyways, bad stuff happened, and he also says this was one of the three books, and it shows a
Ah,
picture of each of the books. It has the Necronomicon, the book from this movie, and then the book from the other movie,
gotcha.
or the third book. Anyway, so that's how you know for sure. There are
Okay,
three different
interesting.
books. Yeah,
Very
great
cool.
movie. You would probably like it. It's got a couple of
It,
pretty
gory scenes, I would imagine, or like mutilation
scary,
scenes.
scary.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
like the mother was missing it one time. She comes back in and she just like,
Uh,
yeah.
oh, look,
Anyway,
if
and you can
don't
kind of
tell
see
me because I
that
want
from
to.
the, yeah, you can probably see that in the preview of it, the scene that I was just thinking of. But anyway, that
Like
one,
good jump scares or just scary? What do you mean, like,
um,
or
more just
just
like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
oh
like
wow,
holy,
oh
shit.
my, oh my,
Um, and sticking with, like demons and stuff like that. I remember after we first talked about that list, I saw Children of the Corn was on there, and it was higher than a movie that I was like, "There's, come on, man!" But I haven't watched the movie, so I told you, well, I'm going to watch the movie tonight. So I
yeah.
go on there, and I was just going to rent it, and then I see the Pope's Exorcist, so I
Ah,
rented that
yes.
instead. So Pope's Exorcist for me, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie, and I know that it didn't get. I don't think it got terrible reviews, but I don't think it got as good as reviews as what they thought. But I really enjoyed it, and it was a good story. And not to encourage you to watch it any more than I would recommend it, they're setting that up like The Conjuring with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So you have The Conjuring over here. When that came out, it was Ed and Lorraine Warren. They showed a little bit about Annabelle. They went into this story. And then Conjuring, the next Conjuring comes out, Annabelle comes out. All these movies have spawned, The Nun, all of those have spawned off of this. And another one coming soon.
Right.
Well, a couple of them, like The Nun 2 and all this other stuff. Anyway, so this one is based on the Pope's Exorcist. Father, I can't remember his name, daggone it. So Russell Crowe plays the character.
Right.
So this movie is one of the stories from his actual like diary or notes that he took. So this is they're telling the story. Now they Hollywoodized it just like The Conjuring did, but it's really good. And at the end of the movie, they what it was is there were 200 angels that were cast out of heaven to hell, and they found a doorway to one of them. That's that he goes around to different exorcisms to perform them. He's like the highest rank. He's the Pope's exorcist. He is the Vatican's lead exorcist,
Huh.
and he goes around to ones that the Pope or his bishop think may be serious, and 90% of them are nothing, but the other 10%, and he's got the church looking at him and like saying, because they're like, well, this stuff isn't even real. Like he in this show, they're showing that the Vatican doesn't even believe in like people getting possessed or whatever. And he's like, these are newer people. They don't understand. They haven't seen what we have seen. His bishop is telling him that and this and that. But at the end of the movie, the bishop is telling him, you found one of them. Now go find the others. That's how it goes off. And I said, oh my God, they just led into like a whole series.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it is like, there's some really, really good scenes in that, like possession scenes. I
So you're
mean,
pleasantly
like,
surprised, huh?
oh yeah, I was because I had heard that it wasn't that good, so I thought it might be okay to watch, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very cool, man. All right. Well, I'll have to maybe check that out. I know Russell Crowe is dabbling in the horror scene, and it sounds like
You
you
know,
said
like,
it was
and if you can handle that, The Exorcist is nothing.
right. Exactly, probably, but it's just a percent. I need to. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't. I need to just do that, and we will. We will soon because we have the new Exorcist coming out this fall, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
there
we're
we
going
go.
to watch.
Hey, man, maybe we will. Maybe we will.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
question that that
I
might
still
actually
think
happen.
you're going to watch the original and be like, really?
I know. I know. It's
Really?
just, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
especially since I've seen The Omen and The Conjuring and all that stuff.
Oh, I think that, yeah, the Omen that was scary with Damien.
Yeah, that was. I never saw Damien 2 or part 3 of the
No,
Damien
and they
films.
probably have even more than that now.
No, there's only
Um,
those three. They
is it?
did those three and stuck with it. I mean, you never did see Damien 2 or 3?
No, I don't think I watched them. I don't think I
Yeah.
watched them. I knew they were there, but I didn't watch them.
I'm surprised, actually.
Hey, are you excited? Because I know one of your favorite horror movies, The Thing, is getting a sequel now.
Yes, I think that's just great news, actually. I just don't know what medium it's going to be in, right? And neither did Carpenter. He didn't really specify if it was going to be a movie, maybe a TV show or a comic book. It could be any of those things, really. You know what I mean?
I hope it's a
Um,
series,
or a
like a
game. It could even
modern.
be a game. No, yeah, if it was,
Oh,
I mean, it could be. That's what I'm saying. You know,
yeah,
sometimes they tell stories. They do finish the stories and that, and he could be talking about that.
yeah,
Um, I would prefer it for it to be a film or a show. Obviously, that would be fantastic for me. But I'm excited about it nonetheless. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I am, and I can't wait to see what happens to Noel McReady, those
yeah.
guys,
That'll be
or if
good.
we even still him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But yeah, I look. However, whatever. And I even like the prequel.
I just watched that about a week or so ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
because I'd kind of forgotten about it or forgotten what really went down. So I knew what it was about, but it was good.
And if you watch the credits, you know it takes you right to
Yep,
it
right up
takes
to it.
you right to the thing.
Yep.
I mean, the dog running up to the or to their place and everything. It's just so I liked that actually. I think that
Yeah.
endeared me to the film more than it actually told that
Did you
story
know it
right
was
up
a
to the point.
prequel when it was first? I thought they were remaking it at first, and I was kind of mad. And then when I heard that it was a prequel, I was more excited.
I can't remember if I knew that it was a prequel. I had to have known it was a prequel before I actually saw the film, but I honestly don't know, Jason.
Yeah.
I know I don't think I knew it was a remake. So maybe I did know it was a prequel. Or maybe
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a remake. I don't know what I thought it was. I honestly, that for some reason, I can't remember that. Um,
I
what I
think
thought it
the
was.
trailer came on when I was watching another movie, like at home. Like I think it was already out or just had come out to like Redbox or shoot. Yeah, Redbox. I don't think it was like mail in Netflix back then. But I think it was Redbox. And I
It had
got the
to.
movie and it showed the trailer for it and I said, "Oh, well this is actually a preview or a prequel, so I will check it out." And it was good.
Well, did they tell you it was a prequel in the trailer? So I don't
I
know if
think
that
I
was the
figured it
case.
out from the beginning because they showed them discovering the thing, and I remember in the other one they just discovered the block of ice. You know what I mean? Right? Oh
Who?
no, they did. They found the block of ice too.
No, they found the block of ice after it
Had
something that bust
melted.
out of it.
Yeah,
Something that bust out of it, and then they also saw the video camera. Oh, the video of everybody standing around the ice. Like they put a little film in the VHS and saw people standing around the ice making a ship. You know what I mean? And they kind of showed that version again happening.
yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? They showed that happening in the prequel of that video being made of them standing around the ship when they found it. They were all standing around like, oh look, what we found here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So and they probably did. They probably did have like a 8 millimeter film just like
yeah.
sitting there.
It was good. I like both of them. Yeah, it's good stuff. So I
Yeah.
can't wait. So I do like. I look forward to seeing whatever this sequel be told and how it'll be told.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll check it out. That'll probably be a go to the theater type thing to watch.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be a good one.
I agree. Well, man, I think we might have said it all today.
I think so. I think so. I hope we don't get hate from Rotten Tomatoes, but
No, I
about the
mean
list.
it
But
was just I just thought it was an interesting list. I didn't, some of the ones in the bottom 10, I would say, uh, do I like any of these? Actually, no, the bottom 10 actually make very good sense.
yeah, they can stay down there. Yeah,
The
it was just a
Mangler,
couple.
Dreamcatcher, I remember being disappointed in also. Um, I thought that was going to be a good movie, and it was
Yeah,
not bad. So I don't know if I'd
yeah,
have it at number 40. The Mangler, I definitely have it number 41. Excuse
yeah,
me. Yeah, I definitely, that one.
yeah.
So the top bottom 12 makes sense. Pet Cemetery 2, technically not a Stephen King movie, really.
I didn't think so either. I didn't think that. And there was another one on there. Did he do
Well, The Rage
Children of the
Carrie
Corn
2.
too? Like it's got Children of the Corn 2 on there.
Does it?
Yeah, like Blood Rage or something like that. Blood something.
It's got Carrie. It's got Carrie on there. The
It's
Rage Carrie 2, and that shouldn't really be technically. I guess maybe because it's based on
I thought that
Stephen
too.
King. Oh, you're right. Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Why do they have? Huh. I guess because, yeah.
Wow.
Or maybe because that was, wow, Children of the Corn 2 was actually released in theaters then.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh. What year was that?
92.
Huh. Wasn't
Yeah,
that far after?
well, that's very interesting.
I can't believe you
Eh,
didn't have like in your at least your top two or three Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, come on now. That was a bad movie when I saw it.
I liked that movie. I thought it was great. Stephen King. Honey,
Yeah,
this machine.
it was that bad. I mean, I
You would
guess for
think
me
they
to
would
see
be
it
able to
then.
outrun some of those vehicles though, if I'm being honest with myself.
Well, there was a lot of people who kind of ran straight down the
Like the
road.
steamroller or the
Yeah.
the lawnmower. It's like, man, just jump off to the side somewhere.
Yeah, there's little things like that. But that's when he was directing that movie High on Cocaine.
I could
He
tell.
was. He was. I hate to
Yeah.
say that. It was a terrible, he was, what he was doing. He was all fucked up on coke. It was a crazy time for him.
I'm gonna write him and ask him to do a remake on it.
They did do a remake for TV called Trucks.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that. Did you
It,
watch that?
I don't know if I saw it actually. I remember wanting to see it, but I somehow missed it. Never got a
Hmm.
chance to check it out. But yeah, it was made for TV. It was probably better
I
than,
probably was.
you
Probably
know what I
was.
mean?
And
Anyway,
that movie ruined Emilio Estevez's career.
no, 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 no,
Man,
no. That was the beginning of Billy West's business career.
what was the last movie you saw him in? Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? That
I saw him in tons after Maximum Overdrive.
and what
I saw him in tons of movies after Maximum Overdrive.
was that
Maximum
after
Overdrive
Young
was
Guns and stuff?
1986. Oh, that was before Young Guns.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, that was before Young Guns, the Mighty Ducks, and all those other movies that he did. Men at Work with Charlie
so
Sheen,
he
that one.
hmm. So that was right after the Breakfast Club. We're gonna give you your own movie.
I guess that would have been after the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Breakfast Club would have been like 83 or 84, something like that.
No,
Oh yeah,
no.
85. I'm
Let's see
telling you,
here.
they gave him that. We're going to give you your own movie. It's going to be great. It's a Stephen King movie.
Breakfast Club was same year as Maximum Overdrive.
He's
I
probably
would
like,
say it probably
man,
came
I'm
out
glad I got
after.
that one.
I'm curious. I got to know which came out first. Maximum Over. I would think that Breakfast Club came out
First,
after.
after.
You know,
I think most people that went to see it was because Emilio Estevez was in the movie.
you might be right. Let's see. All right, when did Maximum Overdrive come out? July 25th, 1986.
Okay.
All right, Breakfast Club. Let's see when you came out. 1985. Then 1985, Breakfast Club.
Like the premiere date.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Oh, I was wrong.
Oh,
That came out on February 15th, 1985.
see, they planned it all.
So that was, to your point, you're probably right. They were trying to capitalize on
Just
his whoa, wait a second. Yeah.
uh-oh.
Yep. Nope.
Oh,
Nope. Nope.
I was
Nope.
getting
Nope.
nervous.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah,
But no, no, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
Good
That
job, my
was
friend. You got me on that one. You got
yeah,
me on all the
like I
trivia tonight.
yeah. I knew that. I had been holding that in my mind for a long time.
Well, there you go, bro.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Well, listen, my friend, this has been a pleasure as always. Guys, thank you very much for watching us. Let us know what you thought your thoughts are. Do you agree? What movies of Stephen King's do you feel like should have been in the top 10 or the bottom 10? I'm just curious to know what your rankings are. Um, Also, if you've seen The Boogeyman, I know I'm looking forward to seeing it. I,
Yeah.
I I can't wait to watch that and check it out and review his latest theatrical film. Also, we should talk about Mr. Harrington's Phone too. I mean, that is a Stephen King movie that's been staring us in the face here on
I know we need
Netflix
to
for the
watch it.
past few
Need to
months
watch it.
now. So let's some Stephen King, jump into some Stephen King here, man, and then talk about that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, Jason, my friend, anything else?
I think that's all. I think
That's
that's
it.
it, Lee.
Well, guys, thanks again. Appreciate it. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. Continue appreciating you guys all for watching us all the time and sharing us. Thank you for all the
Yeah.
views. And I hope everyone has a great evening. Later. Later, Jason.
All right, Lee.